there, everybody. Kahuna the Elder here again with another tip. You know, imagine this scene. Your party walks down a cave entrance. It gets narrower and narrower and narrower. They're looking for a beast. A big beast. Suddenly the room opens up. And there is the beast they seek in its lair. Well, what the heck does that mean? Lair. That's what this tip is about. What's a lair, and what is a lair effect? So let's talk about that. What's a lair? A lair is generally the home base, the headquarters, the main resting location of a creature or a set of creatures. This is what they call home. This is where they go. That's where they sleep. It's where they store their hoard. It's where they gather together to plan. So you see, lair is kind of a wide range of stuff. What are you going to find in a lair? You could find treasure. You could find the creature itself. You could find artifacts. You could find just bones. You can find anything that you want. But remember, the lair is where this creature or set of creatures or beings call home. So there is an important thing to think about. What would that be? Let's use a slightly different example. Let's say that this is the lair of an orc warlord. Okay. Big guy. Now let's think about the orc warlord. Well, you don't become a warlord by being just the one who can fight best. You have to be a little bit more wary. You have to be able to think a little bit more. You have to learn to plan not only an attack, but a defense. So what would this orc warlord's lair be like? Well, he obviously would make it difficult for intruders to come in. He didn't get to be king by letting anybody in the door. So it's going to have a defense of the entry. It could be booby traps, it could be guards, it could be something that keeps an intruder from coming in. He's likely going to have an exit plan, because if things go south and his guards get taken out or they pass the booby trap, he's not going to get stuck in a dead-end room. He's going to want a way out. Because again, he didn't get there by being completely dumb. It's going to be someplace that's comfortable. It's their lair. This is someplace where they go and they are comfortable. So it's going to be part living quarters or resting chamber. There's going to be some of that there. This is where they spend a lot of time. It's their lair. All of these things have to be taken into account. Also take into account what kind of place it would be. For example, a dragon's lair is going to be much different than, say, a dwarf's or a vampire's lair. Those are all going to run into how are these designed and appointed. Dragon's lair is going to have to be fairly large in size, and it's going to have an entrance that can accommodate this dragon, although that entrance may not be one that can be accessed by adventurers. It may have a very high ceiling with a hole in the ceiling where the dragon can fly down. It may have a perch higher up to where people enter the room. If they don't look up, they don't see they don't see the dragon until pretty much it's too late and the dragon's staring down and I'm going, hello, little people. So think of what your creature or character or group what they would have had in a lair, in a place that they consider safe, and how they would keep it safe. Now, the next thing to think about is a lair effect. So, because this is a comfortable place, there's going to be things they can do in there because they know how it works, because they designed this or they picked this, that your adventurers may not immediately pick up on. Different gaming systems use different ways to describe lair effect and what happens in the lair and how it advantages or disadvantages people. That's not what I'm talking about here when I talk about lair effect. It's similar, but it's not I'm not talking about the mechanics of dice rolling or calculating success on an attack. No, what I'm talking about is what is the general effect of the lair. For example, do adventurers walk in and immediately feel fear? Because, oh boy, what did we just walk into? Are they immediately impressed by the cavernous height and the echoes within there? And do those echoes actually make it difficult to communicate? Are they walking into a room where tapestries line the walls, sucking up the sound to where it's almost unearthly how there is no echo whatsoever? Words just seem and sounds just seem to die off. Why is that important? Well, because someone within that lair could move around and maybe not be heard because the sound won't travel. What is the shape of the room? If they use a fireball within that room, what is the likely consequence of that? Is it simply going to poof and be fine? Or is the shape of that room going to influence how that would happen? For example, using that lair of a dragon, if you have a hole up top and you have a small hole here, wind coming through the small hole is going to accelerate and it's going to want a way out, and that's going to be up. And if you set off a fireball, it's actually going to be fed. That might be good and it might be bad. Think about how the environment of this lair affects actions. And then think of how your creature or your beast or your group would have used that to their advantage. It's their place. They know what it's like. And that's what I really mean by lair effect. If there is something in the shape, in the construction, in the decoration of this location, it is likely that it was put there with the knowledge of what it would do to help that creature. If the drapes were put up and they suck up sound, it's kind of likely that it was put there for a reason. That maybe those drapes were there for the sound, or maybe they hide niches behind them where treasure is stored, weapons are readied, or beings hide. Use that. Think of the lair as a different kind of fortress. And what would your creature do knowing everything that's in there? What tactics would they use when they are in that room? Your adventurers don't know that room, but your creature does. You need to use that when you are creating an adventure. You need to come to the realization that your creatures are going to know how to use the room they're living in, that they frequent, that they spend a lot of time in, to their advantage. And it will always be to their advantage. That's the important thing that you need to consider when it comes to a lair effect. Someone comes knocking on your door, you know your house better than they do. And that's where the lair effect can come in. If you like these videos, make sure that you click the subscribe button. I'd really appreciate that. The more views, the better, because that way we can build this channel up and make sure that folks get some help when they're doing their games or their writing or any other nonsense that I talk about. Or if you do subscribe, make sure you hit the notification button. That little bell down there. Hit the bell button. You'll be notified whenever a new video goes up, usually about once a week. So I'm not going to disturb you too much. But that way you can keep up with the latest tips and the latest ideas. And lastly, if you have any comments, any questions, drop them in. I'll get notified of those. I'll answer them, and if it's worth an entire video, I'll give you those. Otherwise, I'll just answer them right there in the comments. But either way, I'm going to get you an answer to any questions you post. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. I will see you guys next time on another Tips from Kahuna the Elder. Bye-bye.